Good. So, what to expect when repairing your metabolism and maximize your results? So, first, why should you repair your metabolism? Well, a lot of people, especially in our Western society, we end up over dieting. And that looks like either dieting for way too long or too severely, meaning you cut your calories by too much. And in both cases, what ends up happening is you end up slowing down your metabolism. And that's when you see a lot of people who diet for months on end, years on end, and it's like they stay stuck for years and years and years. They don't lose the weight that they're wanting to lose, or they do, but they end up gaining it back. And so they're just stuck in this cycle of eating very little food, um, having a hard time losing weight, having a hard time keeping it off. And so that's a situation in which you would want to repair your metabolism. So what should you expect when you repair your metabolism? Actually, let's cover, so how do you do that? Well, you repair your metabolism by um, slowly adding in more and more calories over time to give your body time to adjust to eating more food. So it's technically called a reverse diet. In a diet, you remove calories to lose weight. Well, in a reverse diet, you add calories to repair your metabolism, improve your biometrics like your sleep, energy, digestion, all of those things. So, and I'm not going to get too deep into how to do it exactly. I think I did that in another training. I more so want to cover like what to expect when repairing your metabolism, but just real quickly, for those of you who don't know, how you do a reverse diet is about every 7 to 10 days, you're going to add about 30 to 100 calories at a time, if you're wanting to minimize fat gain. And so because you are slowly adding in more and more calories and allowing your body to adjust to those calories, your body in a sense increases its metabolism naturally. Its adaptation, metabolic adaptation in the positive, versus in the negative, which is in the case of like people slowing down their metabolism because they over diet. So that's how you do it. Okay, so now let's get into what to expect when repairing your metabolism and how do you maximize your results. So if you gradually allow your body sufficient time to adjust to more food, you should expect to have a faster metabolism and improved biometrics like energy, mood, sleep, libido, digestion, reduced stress, all of those things. A lot of times when you end up dieting for way too long, your body not only slows down its metabolism, but your body down regulates all those things. So you have chronic fatigue, you have, you're irritable or have a poor fluctuating mood, you have poor sleep, your libido's practically non-existent, you could have digestion issues, you could respond very poorly to stress. And so when you reverse diet, those are things that you can expect to improve, along with an increased metabolism and improved body composition in a lot of situations. So there are 3 ways or 3 things that can happen to your body whenever you reverse diet. So one way that your body can change is some people will actually lose weight and fat even though they're eating more food in a reverse diet. I've seen this a lot. I've honestly seen this one happen more often than the other 2 scenarios, which I'll cover in a moment. And a lot of times a big reason is because your body's getting more nutrients. And so it basically like provides like your thyroid and your adrenals with more nutrients. And so it starts to basically speed up the work that it does. And then another reason why this can happen is because you are eating more calories, you naturally, without you even realizing it, you start to do more NEAT, non-energy. I don't remember what it stands for, but NEAT is basically non-something activity. I don't remember, but it's basically like fidgeting around, walking from one bedroom to the next. That's basically like non-exercise activity. that burns calories. And so because you're eating more food, your body naturally starts to produce more NEAT, NEAT. The second thing that could happen to your body in a reverse diet is you could maintain your look. So that means that you maintain the same weight, the scale doesn't change. You don't necessarily lose or gain fat. You might put on a little bit of muscle mass depending on how you're training or if you're training at all, but your body it stays the same. But the plus side of a reverse diet is you are repairing and speeding up your metabolism so that you can eat more food and maintain your weight. And, when you do start a diet after you have fully repaired your metabolism, you lose weight more effectively. So you do get all the biological benefits of a reverse diet, but your body technically hasn't changed in terms of the way it looks. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The main goal of a reverse diet is to speed up and repair your metabolism, to improve all of your biometrics like sleep, energy, libido, all of those things, and just have you feel better overall. And then so that when you do start a diet after you've repaired your metabolism, it's actually effective and you're not spinning your wheels anymore. The third thing that can happen to your body in terms of how it looks when you do a reverse diet is you could gain some fat. Now, if you're training, if you're training appropriately, you'll gain muscle and strength along with that fat. But for some people, they do end up gaining some fat. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. Again, the main goal of a reverse diet of repairing your metabolism is to speed up your metabolism, improve your hormones, improve how you feel. And again, so that when you do start a diet in the future to actually lose that fat that you've been wanting to lose for years on end, it's actually an effective diet because you sped up and repaired your metabolism. So those are the three things to expect when you start a reverse diet, when you repair your metabolism. So how your body responds in any of those ways that I just covered, those 3 different ways, is going to depend on 6 different factors. So the first factor is how effective your training is while you are in a reverse diet. So for those of you who've been in my group for a while, you may be familiar with my training that talks about how weightlifting will deliver a much better physique than cardio will. So if you are weightlifting, resistance training, and you're doing that effectively, then you will minimize the negative side effects of like fat gain and something like that. And again, when I say negative, I mean like it's not ideal. Like I get that it's not ideal for people to gain fat, even in a reverse diet, but sometimes it's part of the process, and it's perfectly normal and okay. And a lot of times you just have to accept that. But to minimize that fat gain, you would want to make sure that your training is effective. And what is going to make your training more effective is your effort in the gym, otherwise known as intensity. So if you prioritize intensity over volume, more of your sets and more of your reps will actually be effective in the sense that they actually do the purpose that you're weightlifting in the first place, which should be to build strength and to build muscle mass and to improve body composition, which means to lean out and lose fat. The second thing that can affect how your body responds in terms of how it looks when you are repairing your metabolism is how damaged your metabolism is in the first place. So I have a couple of clients who have literally dieted practically their entire adult life. And honestly, that was me for a long time as well. I dieted for most of my adult life. Sorry, guys, let me mute my phone real quick. And it caused a lot of damage for my metabolism. It probably contributed to the gut issues that I ended up experiencing later on. I know it contributed to my mineral deficiencies later on and chronic fatigue. So I know what that's like. So if that would be an extreme case of your metabolism is really damaged. And so if your metabolism is really damaged like that, you can be more sensitive when you add in calories, even if you're not adding in a lot of calories. Like for example, a couple of years ago, when this was before I did coaching, I was with another coach who was training me, and she was only giving me like 30 calories at a time, like every week or two, which is actually very, very little calories. But I found that my body just like, it like wanted to add fat like really quickly, even though I was only eating 30 calories more a day. So it was weird. But I'm going to cover some other steps that can help to reduce that, because that was actually tied to something else. And I'm going to cover that in a second. So, but if your metabolism isn't super damaged, like, you know, maybe you've only done one diet recently and you maybe dieted for too long, then yeah, you can probably expect to stay on the leaner side whenever you do a reverse diet. So the third thing that can affect how your body looks in a reverse diet is your mineral status. And this actually ties into one reason why years ago when I was trying to repair my metabolism, why I gained weight so easily, even though I was only adding 30 calories at a time. And the reason is because I was very mineral deficient. Now, I think I do have a training on this one as well. Not an in-depth training, but I cover this a little bit. But so minerals are your spark plugs to your bodily processes. So think of it like a car. Like if a car has all the parts, the engine, everything else, but it doesn't have the spark plugs, the car cannot do what it needs to do. It can't run. It can't even turn on. It's the same thing with our bodily processes. If we are deficient in minerals, it makes it really hard for our body to do what it needs to do. And our body does thousands of different roles, probably more than that. And I had found out that I was technically, so I did this HTMA. I was a fast 4, which meant that I had a very fast metabolism, but I was extremely depleted. And the kind of depleted that I was I had been depleted for years. So it was so crazy. But once I found that out, like so many things made sense. And then I started to get formal education on minerals and do more research. And so, yeah, I found out through my research and my education that even if you're doing everything else right, even if you are training, if your training is perfect, even if your nutrition is perfect in the sense that you're eating mostly whole foods and you're not overeating, you're not undereating, if your mineral status is out of whack or imbalanced, it can change so many different things in negative ways. And that was my experience back then. So I would say that's one of the key things when it comes to like maximizing your results with a reverse diet, not just a reverse diet, but health overall. So if you guys are concerned about being minerally depleted, I'm gonna pull up some examples of something that you can, supplement with. That'll help. So let me just pull it up real quick, guys, and then we will continue on with the training. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about anything, just let me know. So earlier today, I was having problems with one of the applications that I use a lot for my clients. And I was having trouble with my browser too. Sorry, guys, I have to log in real quick. So that wasted so much of my time today. And I ended up having to use a completely different browser and like film multiple videos that I'd already filmed before. So That's one reason why I'm not logged in right now with one of my other things. Come on. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull up the second one real quick, guys. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, sorry about that wait. So I'm gonna share my screen so that y'all can see what I'm looking at. So everybody's mineral status is gonna be different for everybody. But in general, you can't have any poor reaction from supplementing with something like this. I get this off of Amazon. I think it's cheaper on Amazon. But this is basically an electrolyte blend. And here we go. It's a really clean product. When you are really supplementing with anything, you want everything to come from natural sources, be food-based, and be the right form of whatever vitamin or mineral it is. For example, when it comes to vitamin C, you do not want ascorbic acid. You want pure vitamin C. So yeah, all of this it's all in the like good, clean forms. It's all clean ingredients. And this is the unflavored. I do recommend the unflavored because the flavored versions do have gut harming ingredients like citric acid, silicon dioxide. Citric acid, for example, can eat at your intestinal lining. So that's really bad. But I know this looks like a lot, $67, but it has 357 servings. So if you're only taking 1 scoop a day, that's over a year. I personally take 4 scoops a day. I just put it in my water. It does not add any taste at all. It's literally just minerals. So that's one thing that you can do. Another great thing you can do is supplement with beef liver. That has a lot of vitamins and minerals that are in like the appropriate blends, at the appropriate ratio. Like that is so important when it comes to minerals and vitamins. You don't just want to supplement with just anything. Like you want things to be in their like natural ratios. For example, and this might be a little controversial, you should never supplement with just iron. Like that causes so many problems. Like you want iron to be balanced with copper. Otherwise, if you supplement with iron, you're going to throw your copper out of balance, and that can in turn mess with your iron. So I'm just giving you guys examples of, but like this is good. It's not going to throw things out of balance. Another product you can do is fulvic humic minerals. This is basically, it's derived from plants and it's literally just minerals, and it can help you to restore your minerals. I would say even if you're not depleted, like this won't cause any bad side effects. And I will say most people actually do need to supplement with minerals because, for example, magnesium. It's responsible for over 400 bodily processes, but 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And one big reason why is because, and this doesn't just apply to magnesium, but a lot of minerals, we overproduce on our soils and we don't allow our soil to rest and recuperate. And that depletes our soils, which also in turn depletes our water. So, and they've done studies that compare produce from today versus produce in the 1940s. And the produce in the 1940s had so much more vitamins and minerals than our produce does today. And it's because of those 2 reasons that I stated. So these 2 things are some really great products that you can support your minerals. The beef liver is great too, as well as cod liver oil. Not fish oil, but cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is significantly more powerful than fish oil. Okay, let me see. So we have some more stuff to cover, but I want to see real quick if anybody has any questions. Yes, thank you, Adolfo. NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Thank you so much. I was trying to remember what that was. Let me check Facebook real quick, and then we will get back into it, guys. I promise. Okay. All right. So let's see. The next step is, so we just covered minerals, how that can change the way your body looks in a reverse diet. Also your food quality. So, and this ties back into nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. If you prioritize whole foods, you are going to get more nutrients than as compared to a junk foods diet. And also, interestingly, there was a study done that compared two different groups. Both groups ate the same amount of calories and the exact same amount of macros. So macros are protein, carbs, and fats. But one group ate only whole foods and the other group ate only junk food. At the end of the study, they found that the group who ate only whole foods, they had a faster metabolism than the group who ate only junk food, and they actually burned more calories naturally, not with doing extra activity. They just naturally burned more calories. So, and again, this ties back into your nutrients, your mineral status, but I would still say that even if that is on point, because like in my situation, I was like perfect and solid in my routine. I was eating only healthy foods, but even still, I was still mineral deficient, and that slowed down my adrenals. By the way, so that test specifically said that my adrenals were worn out, and my thyroid was fatigued too. And this was in light of like having done a thyroid test as well, like a blood test, and it said that everything was fine according to the blood test. But when I did the HTMA, it said it was very depleted. So I would say even if you still have your nutrition on point, like you can receive so much better, so much benefit from making sure that your minerals are good too. So the fifth reason that can impact how your body changes in a reverse diet is ensuring that you're actually tracking your calories accurately. So when you start to introduce more calories, it's more than likely that you're not just going to eat more of the same foods. It's more than likely you're going to start introducing more like high calorie foods that you maybe didn't eat when you were restricting. And so it's going to be really important that you are consistent with how you track your food and that you do it in the right way, basically. So let me give you an example. So at some point I started to eat deli meat again, but it was all clean deli meat. But I like to put it in the air fryer because I like for it to be a bit crispy. So I would put it in the air fryer and then I would weigh it afterwards and track those calories. And I started to gain weight and I was like, why am I gaining weight? Like I'm not eating that much more calories. But what ended up happening is, so when you cook food, especially when you like cook it to a crisp, it ends up dehydrating it. So it ends up evaporating some of the water, and then some of the fat ends up dripping to the bottom. And so in terms of the scale, it does weigh less, mostly because the water has been removed from it. But the macronutrients are pretty much the same. It's just more dense. And so I was very greatly underestimating the amount of calories that I was eating because I was weighing it after I cooked it versus before. So when it comes to like prepared foods like that, like deli meat, even like cooked vegetables, like or cooked roots, like sweet potatoes, like you want to weigh it before you cook it, especially if you're going to cook it to a crisp. Yeah, because like so when you cook sweet potatoes, like let's say you like make it crunchy like fries, like you're gonna evaporate a ton of that water, but it's still gonna have a lot of calories. So my suggestion to you is weigh your food before you cook it, unless it's a meat. like raw chicken, you can go ahead and cook that and weigh it like that. But if you're going to reheat your food again, like let's say you have leftover baked chicken, you put it in your fridge and then the next day you take it out and you're like, I'm gonna eat this for lunch. My suggestion to you is weigh it before you reheat it so that you have a more accurate representation of the calories. Point number 6, and this is the last one, is so another thing that's going to affect how your body responds in a reverse diet is how slowly or quickly you reverse diet. So this is just going to be dependent on your goals. There's no specific number, but if you're wanting to minimize fat gain, then you should probably err on the lesser side. But if you don't really care about, you know, adding on some fat in your reverse diet, then you can err on a little bit more calories. So that's going to depend on your personal goals and what you personally prefer, whether you want to feel better as soon as possible or you want to just take it slow and minimize fat gain. So that could be anywhere from like 30 to 100 calories every 7 to 14 days. And you wouldn't want to increase your calories again until your body maintains its new weight if you are gaining a little bit of weight. So let's say you increase your calories by like 100 calories. And then, the first couple days you gain a little bit weight on the scale and then it levels out for like 7 days. Go ahead and give that, it's the 7-ish days where it levels out, and then go ahead and increase calories again. So now that we've covered all of that, so what should be your end caloric goal? Like, when should you stop reverse dieting? When is your metabolism repaired? So that is going to vary depending on like your sex, your age, but in general, you can follow this easy calculation. And that is basically to multiply what your current body weight is by 10. And then you're going to multiply that by 1.2 to 1.9, depending on your stress levels. And when I say stress, that's physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress. So for example, let's say you have a 140-pound woman. So she's 140 pounds. You can multiply that by 10. That's 1,400 calories. And then you multiply that by 1.2 to 1.9, depending on her stress levels. Let's say she works out. Let's say that her daily activity, like her job is just like a desk job. That's low stress in terms of like activity. And let's say she manages her emotional and mental stress pretty well. So that'd be on the lower end too. But let's say she works out really hard a couple times a week. So you could probably rate that at probably a 1.5 stress level, and that would put her at 2,100 calories. If you have a 200-pound man, that'd be 200 times 10, which is 2,000 calories. And let's say that he has a very physically demanding job. He works 5 days a week, but he doesn't work out at all. You could, let's say his stress levels are moderate. You could probably rate him at like a 1.5 as well. So that's 2,000 calories times 1.5. That's 3,000 calories. So for that woman, her minimum maintenance calories in her reverse diet, her goal should be 2,100 calories. And the minimum reverse diet threshold for the man for repairing his metabolism would be 3,000 calories. Now, when I say minimum, that should be like your minimum threshold. You can go a little bit higher than that if you find that maybe your biometrics haven't improved as well as you would have liked to. So that's just going to depend on your personal goal. And then from there, what you want to do is again, this is going to depend on your goals. So if minimizing fat gain is your main priority, you could stay at maintenance for like maybe like 12 weeks after you reach that threshold. So for that woman in that example, that would be 2,100 calories. She stays at 2,100 calories for 3 months. And for that man, that would be 3,000 calories for 3 months. And then if, again, losing fat is your main priority, then you can do a diet from there. But because you've done all this work on your metabolism, now that when you do start a diet, it is actually effective and efficient. And by the way, the max amount of time that you should diet, again, depending on your starting point, like how obese you are versus like a little bit overweight, should be like probably like 12 to 16 weeks for the average person. I would say for a really obese person, probably 20 weeks max. And that should come with diet breaks in between too. But let's say you, I have a lot of clients who do a reverse diet. Their body responds really well. They end up losing fat. All their biometrics end up improving. And after they get their metabolism to a, a better threshold, they decide to do a lean bulk from there. And that's perfectly fine. And so instead of staying at maintenance for a while, they'll just keep increasing calories at a rate that their body can. They're adding on some weight, but not like a crazy amount of weight. Because if a lean bulk, you don't want to add a lot of weight each week. Like max, I would say probably, again, depending on where your body weight is right now, probably like, half a pound to maybe a pound max for a lean bulk. So yeah, all that's going to depend on your personal goals, but that's how you would carry out those different situations. So yeah, does anybody have any questions on any of that? Let me check Facebook real quick. So Heather says, sorry, I'm late. Work got in the way. You're totally good, Heather. If you want, you can just watch us later. So Heather says, so it would be good to focus on the quality of the food you are eating as opposed to the calorie content. Both, actually. So if you're wanting to maximize your results, minimize fat gain in a reverse diet, then you would want to track your calories. In fact, I would say it's pretty much a requirement if you're wanting to minimize fat gain and actually ensure that you are gradually eating more and more calories and your body's adjusting to it. So yes, track calories and focus on the quality of your food. And if you feel that your body isn't responding well, even though you're taking all those steps, it might mean that you need to work on your mineral status as well. Okay, so Colton says, what's your take on sugar-free candy for sugar cravings? I'm not a big fan of sugar-free because most sugar-free substitutes have been found to interfere with your gut microbiome. So they end up feeding your bad bacteria. So I personally, the only sugar-free substitute that I will use is monk fruit extract. I haven't seen any studies that show that, what I just mentioned, but I have seen studies show that even stevia contributes to bad bacteria. Yeah. So I would say if you have sugar cravings, so a lot of times sugar cravings can be because you are not getting enough minerals. So when I say so many things are tied to minerals, I mean so many things are tied to minerals. So a lot of times what can fix sugar cravings is consuming more salt. I mean, salting everything to taste. Don't worry about high blood pressure. Don't worry about holding on to water. Your body will adjust. Just salt everything to taste. And, of course, drink water when you're thirsty, obviously. And then also, yeah, getting more minerals can help significantly. And trust me, like I've been there before. I used to crave sweets all the time, and it was like insatiable cravings. So if you're curious about learning more about that and my experience with that, and this, by the way, this is not just based off of my personal experience, it's also based off of my education and research and working with tons of clients. So yeah, if you want to learn more about that, I do have a training on binge eating and the 4 reasons behind why you want to binge eat. And so that covers that. Heather says, I keep trying to tell my boyfriend that a high calorie clean meal is better than a frozen pizza. Um, it depends on what you're trying to achieve there. I mean, if you're still staying within your maintenance, like, not trying to gain weight, not trying to lose weight, then yes, a high calorie clean meal is better because it has, more nutrients, more high quality ingredients. And so that's going to nourish your body better. But if that high quality clean meal is like bringing you like way above your maintenance calories and you're not trying to gain weight right now, then no, I would say that's not the case there. Because guys, just to be clear, you can lose weight eating junk food, but that's if you're eating in a caloric deficit. Now, do I recommend eating only junk food and trying to lose weight? No, because you are going to run into the problem of undernourishing your body, messing up your mineral status, things like that. But even me, for example, like I will eat junk food. I will eat like candy and ice cream. And like I look great, like I'm not gaining fat. Like for example, today after dinner, I had an almond Snickers bar with salt on it because I freaking love salt. And I had Breyer's Napolitan ice cream. So you can absolutely get in shape and lose weight while eating junk food. Just make sure that that doesn't make up the majority of your foods. Colton says, but the flaming hot Cheetos for the gains. I mean, if you're eating extra calories, yeah, but they themselves don't add for the gains. But yeah. I do like the flame. I don't know. I think I like the key lime or the lime Cheetos. Those are pretty good. The lime flaming hot. I like those. Okay, so let's see. Adolfo says great info. What was wrong with the vitamin C as a vitamin? I think that's what you meant to say. So, yeah, gut microbiome for the win. Absolutely. Man, gut microbiome is so impactful for so many things. It's often said that disease starts in the gut. So if your gut is inflamed, if your gut is out of balance in some form or another, it's going to affect really everything in your body. So what's wrong with the vitamin C as a vitamin? So it's not vitamin C itself. It's ascorbic acid. That is a form of vitamin C. And ascorbic acid is not absorbed very well by the body. It's not a very bioavailable form. And it can also interfere with the like mineral status or the status of other minerals. So you would want a more natural vitamin C form than ascorbic acid. It's basically like a waste of money. It doesn't do anything because your body doesn't absorb it. Okay. So let me see if anybody else had any questions. Sorry guys, I'm flipping back through Facebook and Zoom. By the way, if y'all want to attend live on my live trainings, you can join me through my Zoom link. I provide the link through every post every week on Tuesdays that tells you what topic I'm covering. So if y'all want to join me live on Zoom, y'all can interact directly with me. You can turn your cameras on if you want. You can ask me questions live. So let's see. Colton says, no, I covered that one. Okay, so Heather says, I've been doing carnivore with intermittent fasting and about 6 to 8 ounces of zero soda when sugar cravings hit. Yeah, so I'm not saying you guys can't have like like the 0 calorie sweetened foods, but I would say if you're trying to optimize your health or like if you have existing gut issues or you don't want to add to gut issues that could arise later on in life, then I'd say try to avoid artificial sweeteners as much as possible. And sub it out with something else. I would even say it's better to just just have sugar. There's nothing wrong with sugar. Just have like a regular sugar cane soda. I know they make it with actual cane sugar versus the high fructose corn syrup. So I would just do that. Colton says need more salts for the carnivore diet. Yeah, I would definitely, I'd say in general, do not abstain from salt. Like salt is so life-giving to the body. When you're high stressed, you deplete through salt much more quickly. Your adrenals absolutely need salt. They need other things as well, like potassium and magnesium. And that's where those supplements that I listed can really help with that. So yeah, I say salt everything to taste. If you want more salt, just have it. Colton says I ate nothing but ribeyes for 3 months to hang. I like ribeyes, but I don't think I could eat just one thing alone for 3 months. Even if I loved it, I feel like I would get tired of it so quickly. Colton says possibly more fat too. I'm not sure what context you mean that with, Colton. Okay. Flipping back through Zoom. Okay. Awesome. Cool. I got incredibly lean though. Yeah. Yeah, so the thing with like a carnivore diet, one thing that makes it so effective is you're getting so much freaking protein. And the cool thing about protein is not only does it help you to promote a leaner body in the sense that it supports muscle growth, muscle tissue, all of those things, but it actually, your body ends up burning more calories just digesting protein versus carbohydrates and fats. So when you break down a gram of protein and a gram of carb and a gram of fat, protein has 4 calories, carbs has 4 calories, and fats have 9 calories. But because protein is harder to break down, your body ends up burning energy when it's breaking down protein. So protein ends up being only 2 calories per gram. So that's one thing how the carnivore diet can be effective in terms of weight loss. I will say that it's not the best for performance, because if you're wanting to maximize performance, like performance in the gym, then you are going to benefit from actually having carbs, and the carnivore diet pretty much minimizes and in some cases negates carbs. So I would say that's one problem with it. Another thing is, like, if you're high stress and you're not getting carbs, you're kind of kicking yourself in the butt, because carbs have a shutting off effect on cortisol. So cortisol is a stress hormone. And if your cortisol is chronically elevated, like you have a hard time bringing it down, but you're not having carbs in your diet, then that cortisol is going to stay elevated. So carbs are super helpful for like when you're stressed and you just want to relieve that stress. That's why a lot of people go for sugary foods when they're stressed out. And so one thing I have my clients do, like if they have a hard time waking up in the morning, I tell them to minimize or avoid carbohydrates in the morning, because again, carbs have a shutting off effect of cortisol, and you want your cortisol to be highest in the mornings. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that ties into your circadian rhythm, which is another subject. And then for clients who have a hard time falling asleep, what I have them do is I have them have a teaspoon to a tablespoon of honey, so that their body is able to basically shut off that cortisol. And also what it does is your liver works the hardest between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. And a lot of times when, like, some people might fall asleep pretty easily, but they end up waking up during the night. A lot of people wake up between like 2 and 3. And that's essentially they're waking up because their liver does not have the energy, i.e. glucose, which is a carbohydrate, to do its job because it does a lot of work at night. Cool. Let's see. Heather says, it's like I can feel my tummy muscles under the layer of fat, and I am desperate to get rid of that layer. Yeah, so Heather, I would have to take a look at your training. I'd have to take a look at your nutrition and how many calories you're eating to better give you advice on that. Which, by the way, I might be giving away free Fix My Diet assessments. So if any of you guys are interested in that, just let me know. But yeah, I need to know some more information on that, Heather, to give you specific advice. It could be that maybe your training's not on point and you need to make that more effective. It could be maybe your metabolism has adapted. Like, let's say you are, like I don't know if you're tracking calories in the carnivore diet, but let's say you are. Could be maybe you've been dieting for a little bit too long and your metabolism has adapted negatively, or maybe you cut calories too severely and you lost a lot of weight at first, but then you hit this plateau. So I would say could either be, and let's say like your calories aren't super low right now already, could just mean you need to decrease your calories a little bit more, as long as you're not too low already. Or it could mean that maybe your metabolism needs to be repaired in whatever degree it is. So yeah, I would say those are often the biggest culprits for stubborn fat. Okay, cool. So, oh, Heather says, I'm pretty much winging it with exercises since I don't know what exercises to actually do. I think my calories might be too low. Yeah, a lot of people end up dieting for like too severely. They cut their calories by too much. I don't know how tall you are or how much you weigh right now, but man, as a coach, I see a lot of women who eat only like 1,000, maybe 1,200 calories a day, sometimes just 1,500, and they eat that for years. And I'm like, dang, like women or men either, you can't survive on that. It's so metabolically damaging. And what ends up happening is you end up getting like, you basically hit this wall where you can't lose fat anymore and you still look fat or overweight. And yeah, so with you saying that you're just winging it in the gym, I'd say for sure it's more than likely that's also a big factor is your workout routine just isn't effective. Because if you're wanting to improve upon your physique, you do need a plan, something that like you're doing on a consistent basis so that you can improve upon it. Because the biggest factor for, strength gains and muscle gains is progressive overload, which is, from whether it's week to week, depending on if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced lifter, but you're consistently getting stronger. Whether that's more reps, more weight, that is progressive overload, and that should be your goal if you're wanting to continue to progress your body. And it's hard to do that if you're just swinging it or if you don't have a specific workout plan. Okay, so Heather says 213, 5'8", running off about 400 calories. You're only eating 400 calories per day? That is really low. Are you sure that's right? That's really low. Yeah, if you're only eating 400 calories today, that is like dangerously low. Especially if like you're only eating that amount and your body still isn't losing weight. That's a pretty alarming sign. So yeah, Heather, I was one time a day, or I ate one time a day, and it's usually half a chicken breast baked. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you've been consistently doing that, then I can 100% say that you do need to work on repairing your metabolism. So Heather, I know you got to this training late, but you're welcome to watch the replay on this. I covered a lot of different details that can help you with this. But yeah, if you need some more help, send me a message and we'll talk about it.